Democrat governor signs heartbeat abortion ban. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. At the end, comment and let us know what you think. Welcome to the Kingdom Report. I'm Yeshua ben Yeshua of the House of David. In the name of Yahweh Elohim, King of the universe, and Yeshua HaMashiach, also called Jesus the Christ, Shalom. Now let's get right to the news. On last Thursday, the governor of Louisiana, John Bel Edwards, who happens to be a Democrat, signed a bill into law that bans abortions that take place after the heartbeat of the fetus is detected, which happens at about 6 weeks into a normal pregnancy. And for those of you who've been following the news lately, you know that Louisiana is not the first state to do this. As a matter of fact, in 2019, several states have passed laws that include a similar so-called heartbeat restriction. Now, these laws are a very serious threat to Roe v. Wade, which is the Supreme Court decision from the 70s that legalized abortion in America. And what makes this new law in Louisiana so threatening to pro-choice Democrats is the fact that Governor Edwards himself is a fellow Democrat. And Edwards pointed to his faith as the main reason he signed the bill, and he also pointed out that his views on abortion happen to match the views of his constituency, because Louisiana is a historically religious and conservative state. So much so that the land divisions there, which are called counties in every other state, are called parishes in Louisiana. And of course, this is due to the influence of Roman Catholicism, which is said to be staunchly pro-life, even to the point of being anti-contraception as well. Again, this new law creates a very difficult challenge for pro-choice Democrats because their agenda is all about demonizing the pro-life position, which up until now, for the most part, has been held by their rivals, the Republicans and Libertarians. On the other hand, pro-choice Democrats also suffered a tremendous hit when another of their colleagues, the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, gave an interview last February where he discussed his views on abortion, which was so extreme that it shocked the vast majority of the American people. Northam gave a radio interview which was shown on the major cable news networks where he outlined his views on abortion, which includes infanticide. Northam said that in his view, even when a fetus comes forth alive and healthy, that the doctor and the parents would then have a discussion to determine whether they will allow that new life to live. And of course, this is the same man who confessed and then later went on to retract that confession that as a college student, he dressed up in blackface or wore a robe and hood of the Ku Klux Klan. And of course, there's Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York, with his now infamous signing ceremony last January of the so-called Reproductive Health Act that legalized abortion in New York up to the moment of birth. And to make matters worse, at the signing ceremony, the state Senate chamber broke into cheering and applause for the signing of a bill that would potentially threaten the lives of many new citizens of New York. Cuomo then went on to direct the World Trade Center spire to be lit up in pink in celebration of that horrific bill, which is really tragic because up until that point, pink had been a symbol exclusively of breast cancer awareness, which is a legitimate women's health concern. Because to tie in late-term abortion at 9 months with breast cancer, with the visual of the World Trade Center with its spire in pink, creates a false narrative that somehow breast cancer and baby killing are in the same category of women's health, when the truth is, if a baby is born alive and breathing on its own, he or she obviously poses no threat to the mother's health. And although these new so-called heartbeat laws have been enacted, they can't be implemented before facing stiff challenges in the federal judiciary, which quite likely will lead to a battle royale in the Supreme Court. This is why the Democrats pulled out all the stops in seeking to derail the ascendancy of Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who is a conservative, to that bench, because it tipped the balance of power to the pro-life side of the debate. Surely the awakening Democrats, particularly among the supposed African American vote, pose an existential threat to the Democrat Party itself. This past Monday, Martha McCallum of Fox News did an interview with Louisiana State Representative Katrina Jackson, who's also a Democrat and is also the bill's author. Let's take a look.
Here now, Louisiana State Representative Katrina Jackson. She is a Democrat who has been a leader and an advocate for pro-life legislation in her home state, where the Democratic governor just signed a heartbeat abortion bill into law last week. Representative Jackson, thank you very much for being here tonight. It's good to have you. Is it difficult to be an outspoken pro-life Democrat today in America?
No, it isn't. For us in Louisiana, we are a majority of Democrats in the Louisiana legislature are pro-life. We generally refer to ourselves as whole-life Democrats, and so it's not difficult for us. It's part of our Christian values, our sincerely held belief that abortion is wrong, and so we fight for it. But we're a little different in Louisiana in how we approach this issue, because as whole-life Democrats, we not only ask a woman to choose life, but we author legislation that helps them take care of that life throughout the stage of life.
So what goes through your mind when you listen to the sort of overwhelming litmus test that appears to exist now on the national stage with regard to your party on this issue?
I'm not distracted. We have Democrats for Life nationally that we're members of. We also talk to Democrats across the state that are pro-life, and so we really aren't distracted by those who believe that abortion is right. You're always going to have people that are pro-choice, and you're going to have people that are pro-life. What we try to focus on is our issue, and that's of being whole life, of caring about the entire life. Yeah. We sometimes say from the womb to the tomb.
Yeah, I've heard you say that, and I think it's it's an interesting way of putting it when you are pro-life, womb to the tomb, and you've been very consistent on how you approach that whole issue. So the heartbeat bill passed in Louisiana, as you point out, Democrat Governor Bel Edwards there, passed the heartbeat law. But you pulled your other legislation, which would have really challenged the constitutionality of whether or not there is a federal right to an abortion. Why did you decide to pull that legislation?
Oh, no, I did not pull it. It should be on the House floor tomorrow. I put it in conference committee to deal with the date of the election. What it says is this: it doesn't challenge whether there's a federal right to abortion. It challenges whether or not our state constitution recognizes a right to abortion. And that's going to be a constitutional amendment that goes to the voters during the presidential election in our state, so the voters can decide whether the Louisiana Constitution recognizes a right to abortion.
And do you think Roe v. Wade is in jeopardy right now?
I believe so, but on last week, some of the opinions that came out of the Supreme Court would suggest that we're not as far along with Roe versus Wade being in jeopardy as we thought we were. But I'm still very hopeful. Louisiana has a bill right now, our admitting privileges bill, which I offered, that is probably going to the Supreme Court in the fall. Yeah. I hope to argue that alongside our Attorney General Jeff Landry and our governor's office, Bel Edwards.
Very interesting.
But looking at just the overall scope of Roe versus Wade, I believe as we see more appointments to the Supreme Court that it's going to be in jeopardy. I believe in 1973, when it was decided, it was the wrong decision.
All right. Representative Katrina Jackson, thank you very much.
And right on cue, the so-called pro-choice Democrats are claiming that if these laws were to be implemented, it would basically eliminate legal abortion altogether, which would be a violation to the constitutional rights of women to equal protection under the law. Several hundred supporters of Planned Parenthood showed up at the Capitol building to protest the ban ahead of the actual signing on Thursday, which is a typical ploy by Democrats to shift the media narrative by gaining sympathy before an event that challenges their out-of-touch policies. At the end of the day, what this really is about is a season of divine judgment upon America. Our next edition is a KYCN special report on the true prophetic meaning behind the seemingly inexplicable and politically suicidal obsession on the part of Democrats with late-term abortion, as we examine the American judgment and the Baal connection. Until our next report, I'm Yeshua ben Yeshua of the House of David, reminding you to stay vigilant and stay blessed. And remember, it's kingdom time. Shalom.
If you enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and bell icon and receive instant notifications from KYCN Radio so you'll never miss new uploads. Enjoy your day, and thanks for watching.